Hey everyone, Rachelle here from Creative Spirit Collaborative. Thanks for tuning in. Wanted to do an expressive arts practice. This one's really cool. I learned this in grad school many years ago. And it is a painting practice, and it's a watercolor painting practice in particular. And one of the things that I really love about expressive arts is not that we're just creating art and that the end product doesn't really matter, although sometimes it can be really beautiful and we will keep that art, but it's really the process of choosing the brushes, choosing the colors, choosing the medium. And today I've chosen watercolor for a very specific purpose. This is the practice of surrendering or letting go of control or fear or tension or stress, or however it serves you. And traditionally, this practice is painting the ensō, which is a Japanese symbol that represents emptiness in a positive way, an empty mind, clear mind, freedom, liberation. And it's typically done outdoors with black paint, and we're doing a little bit of an adaptation on that today. We're going to use colored paint, and I like to use the colors and see what emotions they're associated with. So other Buddhist traditions will have color practices, while the Zen Buddhist tradition is the place where the ensō practice originates. So the first thing that I did was choose the medium watercolor, and really liking working with that, letting go of expectations and kind of messiness. I have a lot of perfectionism in me that I don't like to admit sometimes, and I think it's a really great practice to work with. Watercolor, you can't create a very specific line painting in general, but watercolor really particularly. And then choosing the brush, and I've chosen 2 brushes, and I have just a small piece of paper here today, and this is a great practice to do on a large paper, but I wanted to do it small for this purpose. I love this brush because it's fuzzy and messy. It's so funny. In my regular life, I'm a recovering perfectionist, I guess I would say. But in art, I love to be really messy, and this is great. And it is very like me to choose a brush that's too big for the page. That shows up in all areas of my life. So I'm going to use this for water to go over afterwards, and then I'm going to use this, which is a little fuzzy brush. All the other brushes are kind of pinpoint, which I didn't really want. So this is a little bit of a fuzzy brush that I'm going to use for the color. And then choosing your paper. There's different benefits. If you're choosing a small paper, it's more contained. It doesn't really resonate with this practice in particular, but it can be really helpful of like, how do I let go? How do I find liberation in containment? How do I find liberation in small spaces, or small spaces in the mind, or small spaces in our life, in small moments even. So it can be a good practice for that as well. So this practice traditionally starts with a meditation, and I like the idea of this practice actually being the meditation, feeling the movement and watching the color, watching the shape, and watching all the details of the lines that come out, and then watching the water and seeing what happens afterwards. And I don't know if the page is big enough. I may do several colors together, one layer after another, or I may just flip between pages here. The idea is to tune into your breath and to really feel physically, kinesthetically, as well as emotionally, the creation of that circle. This is like closing of loops and opening of space, or opening of mind. These are some of the things that you can rest with during the meditation. Before we start, we will, if it feels comfortable, closing your eyes and taking a few deep breaths and just resting in the wholeness of the heart, the mandala of the heart. So taking a deep breath in, dropping your consciousness down to your heart. Feeling the heart begin to flower into wholeness with this attention, with this awareness. Good. And then when you're ready, we'll begin. This practice is choosing a color. I'm going to go in sort of a rainbow order, but typically when we're doing art, expressive arts, I encourage people to choose a color based on how you feel and what's moving through you in each moment. I would say in some ways joy is moving through me in this moment, and yellow is often associated with joy, although you get to choose what color and emotion you connect together. So I have some yellow on my paintbrush, and I'm just going to start. See what happens. Moving slowly, breathing. Watch my mind as perfectionism starts to come in. So there I have my yellow Enso. Beautiful, pretty round. My perfectionism is pretty impressed. Okay, I'm going to take a big brush and put a little bit of water on it. Let's see what happens. I don't think I have watercolor paper today, so it might be a little bit different. Again, feeling the practice. Oh no, there's that perfectionism again. What will it look like? How will it be? What will the outcome be? There's my yellow watercolor. And you can see how it really spread it out on the page. That's that letting go. That's that softening into other possibility. You'll also want, I forgot to mention, a rag so that you can clean up any messes that come along with the painting. And so I'm going to switch now to another color, rinsing out my paintbrush and just washing that off. And maybe even taking, and you can do this again and again and again and again on the same page, on a different page, and it really becomes a meditation practice. And one of the things that I like about that is that some people say to me, you know, I just don't have the capacity, the capability to sit and watch my breath, sit still. And I think that's true for some people, and that's okay. And there are many practices, including art practices, that you can use as a meditation, as an alternative, that will start to help still your mind. And you may find, particularly this practice is just so smooth and nice, that you may like to sit in between or after, find a restfulness in the stillness. So we'll just pause for a moment. This time we can keep our eyes open. So in the Zen Buddhist tradition, they often will keep their eyes open. It's a different type of practice where we're allowing everything in and not getting caught up in one thing or the other. So there's a kind of a softening of the vision and an acceptance of what's present. So we'll take a few breaths just with this ensō. Seeing what has been created and how it's transforming still as it dries. And how my mind reflects on that. Good. We're going to move on to another color. This is sort of a fuchsia. No, not fuchsia. Scarlet, I think it's called. Something like that. Okay, so here we go again. Take a deep breath in, start at the top, come out. Uh-oh. Maybe even turn the brush over and continue. So You'll see here that with the turning of the brush over, there's sort of this little infinity circle there, and it starts to bleed. And this looks different than the yellow. The yellow was pretty consistent almost all the way through. This is a little less. This is one of the beautiful things that I love about Enso. But it can get to that perfectionist mind of like, oh, maybe it's supposed to be a really strong color, or maybe it's supposed to be light and strong. I'm not sure about that. And how the water there is bleeding them together. So we'll just pause. Notice what happens with the mind. Notice the letting go, the surrender. This is how art is made, by the way. Creativity is not rational and linear and doesn't hold on to control. So you'll find that artists are very, not always, but in their practice often will be, they'll have this practice of freedom. Yeah, I'm finding it actually very nourishing to be able to watch the bleeding happening between the two colors. This is sort of akin to the way life steps in. We have an intention, and the life steps in and offers us other opportunities that we didn't expect. And if we are open, if we have an empty mind, if we're receptive, if we are surrendered, we can benefit from those other opportunities. Okay, so now I'm going to take the wet brush, just the water. And even the water is a little bit messy because it's got a lot of color in it, so I can't completely eliminate the color. So, great letting go practice. I already feel like layers of myself kind of just, it's like I can't do anything about it. So I'm noticing that I want to turn the brush sideways because it's a small page. I don't want it to bleed everywhere. So here we go with the water. Oh yeah, so cool. And it smooths out. That feels really good to me. My nervous system is involved in this practice. I can feel it calming as I'm running the water along. Oh, and it changes it completely, which is really interesting. I noticed that there's some level of disappointment because I liked the differentiation between the heavy and the light paint. And now it's more uniform, but you'll see that you're getting these little bleeds here. And I think that's really cool. Let's pause and just rest and breathe. Allowing the art to reflect back your own mind to you, reflect back this practice of meditation. Okay, moving on. Some more color in here. So that's supposed to be an orange. Looks red to me. And we'll go with a darker red. Ooh, and mixing the paints is also fun. And I find that in modern society, we often don't get enough opportunity to just surrender. It's not built into our world anymore. Maybe when I was young, I could lay down on the ground and look up at the sky and watch the clouds go by. But these days, it's really not valued. But this is really a nice practice of feeling some of that playfulness coming back and just some of that spaciousness that we so need as adults too. Okay, here we go again. Another circle. This is also, flip it over here, representing our wholeness. Do one more round of water on the inside, and maybe I'll do some small ensōs. I'm getting a lot out of this page, which is pretty typical of me. Trying to do too much with too little. Okay, here we go with the water. Just noticing as I'm doing it, all of my psychology, all of my state of being, my mental limitations are coming up, and it's more of a beautiful practice. I can laugh easier when I'm doing art with my psyche. It's not so heavy. I don't have to worry about, oh, that's terrible. And here's this merging and blending again. Really kind of beautiful, actually, to me at least. And that's what's most important when you're doing art for yourself and your well-being, is that you find the beauty in it. And that doesn't even necessarily mean that has to be aesthetically pleasing, but that you can find the beauty in the practice of it, not the outcome. That's a big practice. Letting go of the outcome. That's a big surrender and really valuable. To know that we're not always in control. We have to work with other people and we have to work with life, and so we can set an intention, and then life hands us these other opportunities for us to navigate and work with, and then that the combination of those things becomes the outcome rather than what we think in our mind. Oh, I know what's going to happen. Move on. Do a couple more just because I'm having fun. I hope you are too. Do a couple of little ones, and then we'll pause for a final reflection. This one, I'll make a little tiny one not connected in the center. So here we go. Deep breath in. And you can do a similar practice to what I'm doing. You get to choose how you make this design. It almost looks black. Wow. I think this one's going to really change with the water. Let's see how it goes. Okay, here we go. Yeah, feeling that movement. And it's interesting, this ensō practice, it's said to just do 1 or 2 lines for the circle and then you stop. And that's another surrendering of control, which is really beautiful because I wanted to keep going. I wanted to keep morphing it. And you can do that too. That's just a different practice. There's not really any rules here, but here it is, blending together. You can see that. Okay. 2 more and then we will be done with our practice for today. So we've been going nearly 20 minutes by the end of this, and this is a meditation practice, and I hope you're enjoying it and really finding encouragement in the ways that we can do contemplative practices that benefit our psyche without sitting and staring at a wall. We can do that too, but it's nice to have some alternatives. It provides an opportunity for compassion in our practice, which is really essential. I think some of the things that can happen when we look at practice in a certain way, I have to sit this way, and I have to clear my mind, and I have to focus on my breath. It creates rigidity, it creates tension, and that's something to work through as well. But and it can be a valuable practice, but sometimes it's nice to have more softness and more compassion in our practice. It sometimes will allow us to go deeper and further. So I'm going to make an ensō in the corner here. Actually, I'll do it up here. Now, I want to just say, I'm getting super lucky today that these are circles. I don't know how I'm doing it. I've done this practice before and it's like, oh, it looks like an egg, or it doesn't really matter. It's for your well-being, because we are not doing a formal Japanese ensō practice. We are honoring that tradition and focusing on our own contemplative practice here. Okay, so I'm going to run the water around this because I really like this part of it. Ooh, I'm a little scared. Not sure what's going to happen. So all of these gremlins, as somebody calls them, our thoughts, our fears, our emotions start to come up. There's that one got a little crazy. When I take the water to it and it's like, what's going to happen? I don't know. Okay, one more and then we'll be done. One more, taking a deep breath in, pausing, seeing what's here already. Noticing how it speaks to my heart and how it reflects back to me. And then I'm going to start again. Take a deep breath in. Last ensō. Going slow. You can go fast if you wish. I think it's a good practice to slow down. Oh, and it felt clunky to me, and I had this urge to say, I'm going to do it again. Let me do it again. Like, let me make it more perfect. It's okay. You can let it go. I can let it go. Okay. Last water. This is so fun. I really want to do it more now. Don't give myself enough opportunity. Okay, here we go. Last water. Take a deep breath in. I'm going to do wide brush this time. See what happens. Ah! Oh, not much. It'll maybe slowly start to work itself out. Okay. So with the wide brush, I picked up some red. And again, that's like, oh, I'm not sure I wanted to do that. Darn. But that's the practice. I hope you enjoyed this practice, and I hope you find some relief in being able to let go and surrender through art, through contemplative art practice. Thanks so much. Take care.